Hi friends, Allison here, dropping in to share with you a mixed media scrapbook layout today. I am beginning with this cut file that I cut with my Cricut. It is a wreath turned lily pad, and you'll see that later on in the layout. I began with watercoloring in the background. I'm just using plain white cardstock. It's smooth cardstock from Close to My Heart. And I'm also using my Close to My Heart watercolors to create a shadow behind the wreath. I marked it with a pencil first, just so I could keep both shapes fairly close in size and shape. If I did it by myself, it would have been wonky and wouldn't have looked right. So I cut the wreath first and then traced it and then did the watercoloring. And then I held it up to the watercoloring as well, just to be sure you could see enough of it from behind the wreath. I didn't feel like there was enough, so I added just a little bit more yellow and widened the circle a little bit. And then for some added interest and texture, I'm just adding some splatter. I used two different color yellows, two different shades of yellow for the splatter. One is a darker yellow and it reads a little more orange. And then the other one obviously is a lighter yellow, kind of like a butter yellow almost. I was okay with using the darker yellow because I will be bringing in some darker yellow into my layout later on. I glued the wreath directly to the layout base. And as you can see, there's watercoloring showing from behind it, which is exactly what I wanted. And I'm just trimming off the excess leaves that have fallen off the edge of the page. I didn't want my wreath directly in the center of the layout. I wanted it in the bottom right, I guess. So I just placed it a little bit off center and then trimmed off the rest that didn't need to be there. I'm also using liquid glue to adhere my flowers together, which today happen to be lilies. And they are lilies actually from a lily pad. And so the green part that lies underneath the flowers after I get them glued together, that's the lily pad. There will be 3 of them on my layout, and they will mark my 3 focal points, creating my triangle on the layout. You know how hard I try to do that in every single one, and I'm doing it again today. These lilies were cut with my Cricut as well, and I adhered the first 2 layers. There's 4 altogether. I glued them together and then hand stitched the top 2 layers afterwards, and then I glued the rest of it together after I'd done all the stitching. I also wanted to add just a little bit more height to the flowers as well, to the lilies, so I'm using some craft foam to pop them up even more. I don't necessarily have to do that because with the stitching it already adds enough height and dimension. So if you like keeping your scrapbook albums as thin as possible and you don't like so much height and dimension, if you want to add hand stitching, don't add any other foam in addition to that because it'll just make it way too bulky. I cut my title twice because I thought the title would look super cute with this Amy Tan plaid paper. I think it's from Late Afternoon, and while it does look really cute, I think it was too busy and made the title kind of hard to read. So I stuck with my original plan, which was just the plain yellow cardstock, and I'm gluing that to the top of my wreath. I'm using foam squares to pop them up just so that they are the same height as the lilies. And my picture, which was cut or printed at 3 by 4 inches, was also adhered with craft foam and foam squares underneath the title. You can see it there. It's black and white, so it really provides really nice contrast between the bright, pretty colors and then the black and white photo. I think it just pops off the page. So here's the other yellows that I was talking about. I cut some other smaller flowers, which are actually from lily pads, but I hid the lily pad image in my Cricut Design Space software and just cut the flowers. They are also being adhered with foam squares, and they're just going to be sprinkled around the wreath to bring in a little bit more yellow into the layout. I really liked the contrast of color between the reddish tone and pink and green with the yellow. And actually, if you look at it in a way, this layout is a partial rainbow layout as well. I used pink, red, yellow, green. I skipped the blue, but it is a partial rainbow in the end. I knew that I wanted to add some phrase stickers to the top left-hand portion of my picture, and I pulled whatever I had out of my stash that is phrase stickers and auditioned them until I came to the phrase stickers that I had put in my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit for this month. And so as a result, this officially became an unofficial How to Kill a Kit with Style layout for the month of May, which is awesome. Yay, go me. I haven't done one in a little while, and honestly, I think it was about time. I did only just use some of the embellishments out of my kit, but I'm okay with that. I'm counting that as a win, and I'm still counting that as using my kit for this month. I added the date, but because I pulled in a new color into this layout with the Tim Holtz phrase stickers, which are a neutral color, I decided to add the date in a neutral color as well. So I just pulled out some Close to My Heart almond ink, stamped the date on it. My roller stamp is a K&Co stamp that I've had for ever and a day. And I think I've mentioned this before in my videos, but it is good until like 2023, I want to say. So I have a couple years left of life in that roller stamp before I have to go find a new one. I had a lot to say about this picture. This is my house. And when the pandemic originally hit, if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that a lot happened in a very short period of time for our family. And one of those things was being asked to relocate, and which we've accepted. And so this summer we are going to be moving, but I've started looking at everything around me with a new set of eyes. And something that became really important to me to document was my house, and the house that we have lived in for the last 10 years. We moved here to the town that I live in right now 10 years ago when my girls were still babies. They weren't even 2 yet. So this house holds a lot of memories, especially for them, because this is the only place that they remember, and it's going to be a place that we absolutely miss. That is why this layout was titled Our Pad, because this is our pad. Here's the close-ups. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this layout inspired you, and I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and a like, and I would really love to hear from you. Drop a comment down below if you feel so inclined to. I will be back again soon with more creative inspiration, so be sure you check in again. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe consider doing that. Thanks for joining me today, friends. Bye.